All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So hello, everybody. I'm Elisa Martinez, and I'm an event staffer at Politics and Prose Bookstore, and I would like to welcome you to PNP Live. We appreciate you joining us in this virtual format in the midst of these continuously extraordinary times, throughout all of which we've been working to bring you the authors that you love and their new books to our PNP community. At any point during the event, you can click on the link in the chat to purchase signed copies of the Lightning Rod directly through the Politics and Prose website. If you look near the bottom of your screen, you'll see a button that says Q&A. You can click there to submit a question to the author. And while we try to get to everyone's questions, we apologize in advance if we run out of time before we get to yours. But we really encourage you to put your questions into the Q&A. So we're also providing closed captions if you click on the CC link right next to the Q&A box, also at the bottom of your screen. Before we begin, I would like to say thank you again for being here. We're immensely grateful for you all to helping keep our business and our spirits afloat. And now I would like to welcome to PNP Live, Brad Meltzer, celebrating the release of his book, The Lightning Rod. Brad Meltzer is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of 12 thrillers, including The Escape Artist, and nonfiction books such as The Lincoln Conspiracy and the Ordinary People Changed the World series. Meltzer has also appeared on bestseller lists for children's books and comics. He's won the prestigious Eisner Award for his work on the comic Justice League of America and is a host of the TV show Brad Meltzer's Decoded on the History Channel. The Lightning Rod is the much anticipated sequel to Meltzer's #1 bestseller, The Escape Artist. Mortician Jim Zig Zagorowski and ex-military officer and artist Nola Brown's paths collide once more as Zig follows the trail of mysteries left behind by Nola and veteran Archie Mint. Mint's seemingly perfect life is stopped short when he is killed trying to protect his family in a home robbery. When Zig makes a chilling discovery during his examination of the body, he uncovers secrets beyond what anyone could have imagined, including Mint's connection to artist Nola Brown, who saved Zig's life just 2 years ago, but has since gone into hiding. Yet, trouble always seems to find her. She's the Lightning Rod. Please join me in welcoming Brad Meltzer to PNP Live.
Well, thank you for having me, Alyssa. I appreciate it. It is Friday, and it is the end of the day on a Friday, which means if you're on another Zoom for a bookstore, you are the nerdiest person on this planet. You are my kind of people. I love you. This is my hotel room in Cleveland, Ohio. I want to set the scene for you. This is important. There's no light in this hotel room. I'm not joking. The only light is behind me, which doesn't light my face. The snow that is coming down. And as the sun falls from the sky, so too will fall my shadow. So I'm going to talk until it goes black. It's going to be epic in mood. I will tell you that Politics and Prose hosted my very first book signing all those years ago for the 10th Justice. Very first book. And back then, Barbara and Carla, who ran Politics and Prose, you had to get the nod. It was like Johnny Carson on the couch. They gave you the nod and you either got to speak here or you didn't. And I remember being 27 years old and being very proud because it was my local store. And I love that. And I love you for it, for all of those who still support this amazing bookstore. So thank you first to Politics and Prose for welcoming me 25 years ago. That seems like a long time. And we are here to talk about The Lightning Rod. So The Lightning Rod is the new book in the series, and I love these characters, Zig and Nola. I'll tell you the quick setup, and then we'll dive into much more interesting things. But the book opens with one of my great neurotic fears, and you have Archie Mint hands his car keys over to a valet at a fancy restaurant, and the valet takes the car. Rather than parking it, he hits the little GPS button on the steering wheel. He says the magic words, boop, 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 go home. And the car plots a route to his house, to Archie Mint's house. Now he's got Archie's car keys. He's got his house keys that are on there too, because this is a robbery. And when he breaks into the house, the valet finds someone's actually already waiting for him with a gun. This is not a robbery at all. This is a trap. And when the body goes to our hero, the mortician Zig finds something on the body that no one's ever meant to see, no one was supposed to find, and it leads to one of the government's really most closely guarded secrets. So I just ruined chapter 1 of The Lightning Rod. There's only 2 chapters in the book. They all die at the end, so that's it. I'll see you guys later. Good night. That joke is so much funny when you're in a room and you're laughing. Oh, it's killing me now. I hate Zoom. But I love you for coming on a Friday in the middle of it We're laughing. Thank you, Chelsea Lake Pollitt from Chelsea. I appreciate that, Chelsea, because I am nothing without someone telling me that they're reacting to something I'm doing. That was pity, Chelsea. You just gave me live on Zoom. So, but obviously my love of this book really comes from my love of these characters. That's what you're going to see. And, I've also written Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. And when you do those characters to me are, look at this. I just found other people are laughing. Wait, hold on. I just want to see what you're writing about me. Hold on. I'm joking. That was a joke. You fell for it. Oh, you guys are suckers. So what I love when I was writing Superman and Batman, the reason that Superman and Batman can last for 80 years is because there's something about them. There's a depth about them that no matter how much you dig, there's always something new to find. As the 90th Batman movie proves, hopefully something new to find. I saw the movie. And I've done repeating characters before, but what I love about Zig and Nola is I finally felt like I designed characters that had a depth that I could keep digging at. And that's why I brought them back. No other reason. And Zig is a mortician at Dover Air Force Base. Dover is a place where, of course, our fallen soldiers' bodies go when they die overseas. But it's also where when the space shuttle went down, all the astronauts' bodies go. And when 9/11 happened, right here in DC, that's where all the victims of the Pentagon attack, their bodies went to Dover too. And all of our spies across the globe who are on secret missions for the CIA and all these other amazing places, their bodies go to Dover too, which means Dover's a place that's filled with secrets. And that's a great setting for Zig as a character. And Nola is the artist in residence. And the Army has had, this is true, since World War I, the Army has had an artist on staff who paints disasters as they happen, whether it's storming the beaches in Normandy, whether it's Vietnam, Korea, 9/11, everything in between. They're racing in, everyone's got guns blazing, there's one person racing in with paintbrushes. And when I first heard that, I said, oh, that guy sounds crazy, I want to meet him. And they said to me, you mean her? You want to meet her? It was a woman. The woman I met was Sergeant Amy Brown. That's where Nola's last name comes from. Nola Brown was named after her. She's completely different than Amy, who was actually at our event last night in Virginia. That's what you get for watching on Zoom. You could have met her last night if you came in person and risked your life at our super spreader event, but instead you're going to be safe at home, and I'm going to just tell you about her. And she, look at this. Aileen said, my son saw you in Virginia last night and was amazed about the artist there. See, your son got something good. And now the rest of you get nothing but just me on Zoom in this hotel room where it's snowing and the light is going down. Watch the light. Someone do it like a minute by minute thing at the end, or maybe like 15 minutes, and we'll see how much the light goes down. Maybe it goes late here. So what I love about Nola is Nola sees weaknesses. She can see what leg you favor because of your knee surgery. She can see which way your scarf is pulled when you tie it, and she tells if you're righty or lefty. She can see if you have crow's feet on just one eye, because that's the eye you aim with, and you're the hunter in the room. She can find your weakness. She can find your hidden secrets. What I think about Zig and Nola together is Zig believes that you put kindness in the world and you put generosity in the world becomes a better place. It's a beautiful idea. It's a completely naive idea, but it's an idea worth fighting for. And Nola believes if you want the world to make sense, you grab it by the throat and you force it to make sense. Also a noble idea and a vital idea, and potentially a disastrous idea. But of course, neither of them is right. They are, in a sense, both of my points of view of the world. And I'm still, through those characters, trying to figure out which parts of myself is the right approach. And of course, the answer is it takes both. Neither of them are completely right. It takes a little bit of each of them coming toward each other. And I think this book, you'll see when you read it, is really about dysfunctional family. And all of us have dysfunctional families. I don't care who you are. And then we rebuild our own families. And those are pretty dysfunctional too. And I think sometimes you figure out that the best secrets you have are the secrets you don't even know you're keeping from yourself. And you'll see in this book, Nola's greatest secret. You'll see one of Zig's great secrets. And I'm not going to ruin it. You're going to see it. I won't read from the end of the book. That would be a disaster. So obviously the fun for me is the research. I love the research when it comes to these books. So for this book, I found out that this is true, and I love that I can say this in DC, is that the US government has nearly a dozen secret warehouses hidden all across the country that deal with bioterrorism attacks, whether it's smallpox, whether it's anthrax, whether it's hantavirus, anything in between. And that means if there's an attack on Washington, D.C., or in Texas, or in California, or in Iowa, or anywhere in between, that they will have what they call a push package of antidotes sent your way within a certain amount of hours. And it has to be hours. So obviously, many are located near airports so they can get them out. And I'm like, you're telling me you got the government has secret warehouses hidden right in front of our face and nobody knows about it. I want to know what's inside there. And what you see when you read the last chapters of The Lightning Rod, which I've signed to Politics and Prose. I signed all the copies yesterday. I was there inside the store. So they all have real signed copies, not like little stickers, fake ones, like sign the books. You can get them from them. I was like, when you read that final chapter and those final chapters you see, which are set inside the secret warehouse, what is inside there, I didn't make up. That's what's really there. And that's obviously the fun of it. And I'll tell you that, wait, Sherry Goldman's on here? That's so funny. Oh, Sherry Goldman, she did a really nice thing for charity and we put her in the book. Welcome, Sherry Goldman. You are in the book. You have a good spot too. You're with one of my dearest best friends. So one of the things that I also found is I love asking government people stuff in DC. And in the government, I asked them, how do you communicate? How do we all communicate when everyone has access to our email these days? Everyone can see what we're reading. When we send an email, it's all up to be grabbed and taken and sent out to everyone. And my friend who used to work in a very high level security agency not far from where you all are, said to me, the moment you hit send on an email, the very moment that send button is hit, anything goes. I don't care if you're using Signal. I don't care if you're using WhatsApp. It'll be done. They can crack in a good encryption program. Will finish it in seconds. So he said, if you want to keep a real secret, let's pretend you want to send something to your friend Sherry. You send, I get a Hotmail account. Doesn't require any ID, doesn't require any verification. There you go. And I get that Hotmail account. I open up and I write an email to Sherry, but don't hit send. He says, what you do is you hit save draft. And then I give Sherry the login to my account. Sherry comes into my login. She opens up my save draft. She sees what I wrote. She writes a reply right there. She hits save draft, doesn't hit send either. Hits save draft. And now Sherry and I are communicating without ever sending anything in the cyberspace. It's a great, great idea until General Petraeus, the former head of the CIA, used that trick, which is in our book, to cheat on his wife and contact his mistress. And I called my buddy. I'm like, that's the thing you gave me for the book before it was out. I'm like, you got to give me a better one. So you'll see what he gave me. What's in the book is an even better one. I love that he gave me an even better one. And the one that's in there is really cool. You'll see what Black House is all about. And then in terms of, I'm supposed to tell you, please start putting questions in the Q&A because we're going to go Q&A soon and I want to answer all your questions. I wound up reading both anyway, so you can put them anywhere, but if you put them in there, I'll see them. I do want to talk about a couple other things. So that kind of gives you the general gist of the lightning rod. And for me, the lightning rod, what I will say is I am doing this 25 years now. And when I was in my 20s, I was writing about 20-year-olds in DC because I was a 20-year-old in DC. And when I was in my 30s and I got married, I started writing about married people who were in DC. And then I had kids and I started writing kids' books. And here I am writing about a guy who loves his daughter, which is what Zig is, and still kind of writing from that NOLA position of when I was trying to be a kid and thought I was a kid, but really was parenting my own parents. And my brother-in-law asked me many years ago, he said, what do you want to be in 10 years? And I'd always say the same thing. I'd be like, I don't know, write more books. That's all I want to do. And he would say, why? You got to answer deeper than that. And I was like, I don't know. And it finally dawned on me why I hate that question is I don't want to know the ending. Why would you ever want to know the ending to your story? There's no surer way to ruin a story than knowing the ending. So I love the fact that what you're seeing in Zig and Nola is me always just looking at my own life. When I buried my own parents, I mean, is it any coincidence that my main hero was suddenly a mortician? And why? Because morticians aren't there for the dead. Morticians are there for the living. They're there to give the living the one thing that is hardest to get when you lose someone who's so close to you that it cracks your soul open, that hardest of all things to attain. which is closure. So that's what you're seeing in Zig. That's what you're seeing in me. And what I do want to talk about is just quickly a couple other things is we do our kids' books. Anyone who knows, we do the Ordinary People Change the World series with Chris Eliopoulos, and we've done I Am Amelia Earhart, and I Am Abraham Lincoln, and I Am Rosa Parks, and Albert Einstein. We did I Am Jackie Robinson for my son who loves sports. My daughter loves our dog and animals. I wanted to show what you could do with your love of something in the world. And so we did for her, I Am Jane Goodall. We did, I'll see, our newest books are I Am Malala and I Am Muhammad Ali. And obviously 2 Muslim heroes. Why? Because I was watching Muslims get picked on over these past, administration. And I just thought, we have to fight back. We always have to fight back. And people fight back in different ways. I can write a book. And I love that you see Malala, who was told that, she couldn't be educated. She shouldn't be learning, that girls were lesser than boys and should never be, have the information that boys had, and says, no, there's no way, and uses education to not only help herself, but to help other people soar. I love that lesson. And Muhammad Ali's lesson, there's a great, beautiful story in there when he's a little boy and he doesn't get served at a place because he's black when he was growing up. And they say to him, sorry, we're not serving you. And then he wins the gold medal. The young man wins the gold medal for the United States of America in the Olympics, comes back to his hometown, to the same exact restaurant, puts on his gold medal, wears it into the restaurant purposely, because he's like, when they see me wearing my gold medal, they got to serve me now. And he walks into the restaurant, orders his cheeseburger and his milkshake, and they say, we still can't serve you. Takes the medal off and is like, this medal is worthless unless we're all treated equally. And telling stories like that is not the bad part of America. That's the best part of America, that we can complain and try to improve and show things fight back. That's the best part. And on the back of every book is always the moral and the value that I'm trying to give my own kids. And on the back of I Am Muhammad Ali, it says, I will always speak. On the back of Abraham Lincoln, it says, I will speak my mind and speak for others. On the back of I Am Amelia Earhart, it says, I know no bounds. On the back of I Am Muhammad Ali, it says, I will always fight for what I believe. I want my sons to have that lesson. I want my daughter to have that lesson. I want everyone to know that you have to fight for what you believe. And we were forced to kind of go to it face to face a few months back when our kids' books, I Am Rosa Parks and I Am Martin Luther King Jr. got banned. They literally banned them in Pennsylvania, not because of the content. They banned 200 books that were good for speaking to kids about racism. And they basically froze them, and then they said they're going to read them, and it took them a year to read them. And these books, you can read in 5 minutes. It took a year. So teachers were confused, librarians confused. It became this ban that we helped overturn. We used the lessons of Rosa Parks and Dr. King and fought back. And I went and spoke at the school board. I read my favorite line from I Am Rosa Parks. It says, I'm not a famous businesswoman. I'm not a famous politician. I'm just an ordinary person. But I'm also proof there's no such thing as an ordinary person. And I said, see what you're denying your kids. And then the best part was the students started speaking. And these students were incredible. They were the real stars. They had everything. They were the ones who changed it. And we got this ban overturned. And I love doing that. But the reason I brought it up is because you're only going to see more of these book bans. I can't believe that we're here in 2022 and we're still fighting book bans. And as people who are on a Friday night in a bookstore, I hope you will fight back against it. I look back through history because I think, of course, history always has, a lot of what we see in the past, we of course see repeated in the future. And I look back what the first book that was banned nationwide in the United States. And historians tend to agree, although there's, some people quibble over it. But the first book they tend to agree that was banned in the whole country was Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin. And why was it banned? Because slave owners were worried of that idea that slavery was wrong being out there. They thought it was going to indoctrinate our children. They thought it was going to, take away the livelihood that they had. They didn't want anyone to see that slavery might be a bad thing. And that's what you're seeing today. That word again, they're going to indoctrinate your children. Watch that word. It's a word that's used against the Black community, against the Jewish community, against the Muslim community, against the gay community. They always a word, they're going to indoctrinate your children. No one wants their children indoctrinated, right? What we want to do is show history. And if you're just telling the best parts of history where America looks great in every scene, that's not history, that's propaganda. So if you're cheering while books are being pulled from the shelves you're on the wrong side of history. So I encourage you, and I don't mean just buy our books. Anytime you see a book that's banned, I just saw Jerry Craft's New Kid. I bought a copy. Mouse, buy a copy. Whatever you see that's banned, buy a copy, donate it to your library, donate it to your kid's school. Always, always, always. And I love the fact that we get to fight back in that way. And I felt like I do need to talk about that because we got caught up in that, and I can't believe it's still happening. But again, if you're cheering for book bans, you're on the wrong side of history. You will be revealed eventually as the bad guy in the story, just as everyone, whoever, whether they banned Shakespeare or Uncle Tom's Cabin, Alice in Wonderland, Huck Finn, anything else that's been banned over time, you're standing with that side. So just know what side you're on. So with that said, I'm going to go to the Q&A. Let's see what we got here. I'm glad that Lanessa has been buying up banned books for years. And my friend Joe Fab is here. I like that. That makes me happy. So I'm going to just go through these Q&As. I'm going to go in the order that they're in, because if you were the faster typer, you win. Stephanie asks, hello, my favorite author, Brad Meltzer. Hello, my favorite first writer, Stephanie. Is there any government secret? You know what's great is I'm reading this out loud. I don't even know if I like this question. So it could say something really embarrassing, but I'm going for it because I love you. Okay, is there any government secret that did not make it into the book that you can tell us? Ooh, that's a nice question. Let me think of a good one. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. I like this one. There are rental cars, because you'll see in the book there's all this end of the world stuff. One of the things he said is, this is a good one, actually. Okay, I was thinking, I'm like, should I reveal this or not? All around DC, there are rental cars that are permanently, they're moved, obviously, but they're there in case the end of the world comes, because they want people who don't have cars, like high level, like senators and congressmen, to have cars. I freaking love that. I love that there are just like cars sitting around there. So that's one. That's what I'm giving you. There's another one I was about to tell you, but there's no way I'm telling you that. I'm going to use another book. Brianna's here. Okay, I'm so happy. Okay. Wish you like writing more, your thrillers or your kids' books? I don't know. That's like, asking which your kids you love the most. What's your favorite movie genre? Okay, pretend it's superhero movies. Great. You only for the rest of your life can watch superhero movies. Or you love independent film. Great. All you can watch for the rest of your life are independent films. You will eventually hate whatever it is you love. And for me, God bless the people who can do a book a year, every year, and write a new thriller every year. If I did that, they would be churned out garbage. And two, I would eventually hate it because it would feel like I'm just doing one thing. Why would I want to just watch superhero movies? Why would I just want independent films? I want to watch all those things. So when I leave and go to another genre and get to write kids' books or the TV show, it kind of recharges me and lets me come back to the thriller even more invigorated. And of course, the moment I'm writing the thriller, all I want to do is get all excited to watch the new kids' book. So I love the fact that I get to do both. I don't think there's, I will say the kids' books are 38 pages. And I get to study Muhammad Ali and talk to the Ali Foundation and interact with amazing people. And that's fun, but writing a thriller is so much harder. Or what Josh mentioned I do in the conspiracy books is so much harder. Okay, let's see what this one is. Okay, Lori says, hey, Brad, I saw you last time. Your Politics and Prose. Nice to see you again. And Lori, I appreciate it. When the first conspiracy came out, what's your next historical book? Oh, Lori, this is it. You're the winner. Okay, so I went on social media and a couple of weeks ago, and I held up the cover, the actual cover to the next conspiracy book, and it said and it was redacted, blank, conspiracy. And I said, if you come to our book event, I will tell you what the next book is. And why? We're going to reveal in a couple months, or I think at the end of the tour, we'll actually reveal it. But I was like, I want you to have a reward for coming to the events. So this is the reward. Now, all I ask is, when I said to my publisher that I was doing that, they're like, you can't do that because we're going to promise an exclusive to some reporter. And you can't tell people online and at your events what the book is. And I said, okay, I won't. And I totally lied to them because I'm absolutely going to tell you. The only thing I ask is when I'll take a blood oath right now. So get your knives. That's a joke. Don't get knives. But seriously, all joking aside, just don't tell anyone. Don't put it online. Someone's going to say, I saw it online yesterday. Someone was like, tell me what he said at the thing. I want to know what the new book is. And someone wrote back, I'm not telling you. I promised I wouldn't. So don't tell anyone when they ask online, but I am going to tell you first so you have it. You will be rewarded for being here 5 o'clock on Friday. The next conspiracy book, so we did the first conspiracy about the secret plot to kill George Washington. We did the Lincoln conspiracy about the secret plot to kill Abraham Lincoln. The next book is the Nazi conspiracy. It's about a secret plot to kill by the Nazis. It's unbelievable. To kill Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, and FDR in a triple assassination. It's an unbelievable story. And there's a scene in the book that's so bananas, and you're going to be like, that's not real. And it's so real. And we put a picture of it happening in the book. You'll see the guy like come down the sky in this crazy rescue attempt, and you're gonna see the guy. He's got his arm around. It's bananas. As far as the next kids books, because it's not going to just tell you the adult books. So the next kids books that come out, this is not news, is I Am Pei, The Great Architect. It has a pop-up thing in the book of the Louvre, which is, I'm so proud of my ingenious nature to come up with that. It also is single-handedly what delayed the book for an entire year, because I put a pop-up in there, outsmarted myself again. He also comes out with I Am Dolly Parton. I will tell you that we designed it with glitter on the cover because it's I Am Dolly Parton, and you gotta have glitter. And I think one of the great losses of COVID, one of the true great losses, is they told me, Brad, if we put glitter on the cover, it could be delayed, and we had to lose the glitter. So I want to ship every book with like glue and your own glitter. I hope people will make their own glitter covers of it. But I Am Dolly Parton and I Am Pei both come out in June. In September, I'm going to show you this one. This is so good. It's so much fun. In September, The Ordinary People Change the World series expands and becomes Stories Change the World. And we team up with DC Comics, and we start with, check it out, I Am Superman, and then I Am Batman. Dun, dun, dun. You thought the movie was good? This is better. And Chris Eliopoulos and I are so excited about these books. We're also doing Wonder Woman, which will come next year. And then here's what nobody knows. Don't tell anyone. Is after that, we're doing I Am John Lewis, and we're doing I Am Temple Grandin, our first autistic hero. So I know one person who's going to be very excited for that. Okay. And then the next book I'm working on is a Ziganola thriller. So that'll be after that. And then Nazi Conspiracy, I should say, comes out in January of 2023. So again, don't tell anyone. I trust you people. Joe Fab asked, are there any places that he said your books sort of stand apart? And I love Joe. I know him, so he's being nice to me. He's a dear friend. Are there any places that just wouldn't let you in? And which of these places stand out as your most amazing place? So I'll save that last one for the end. But most places let me in. The reason I was able to get into these warehouses is because I started researching this book 5 years ago. The Strategic National Stockpile, what these secret warehouses are really called, no one cared about them then. They were like an asterisk in the government. Everyone's like, it's never going to happen. And then COVID hit. And I remember when it hit, I called my sources and I was like, is this you? And they're like, this is us. And now it's obviously even harder to ever get in there. So I just happened to get lucky on dumb timing. That's why I got in. Jonathan Goodwin asked, what is the name of your next conspiracy book? I answered that one, Nazi Conspiracy. Awesome job on the Kelly Clarkson show. And I have every one of your books. So like, if you didn't see me on the Kelly Clarkson show, we taped it like months ago and they just aired it. You should just Google the Kelly Clarkson in my name and you'll see it. But what was so great, if you actually watch the full episode, there's tons of clips. Like if you see one, you just saw part of it, because they had me like, after I did my little 5-minute segment, they were like, I went to, go to leave and they're like, no, you're going to stay for the next segment. So I was like, oh, it's like Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon. They like, if you do well, you get to stay. And then they had me stay for the next segment. And she was like, oh, stay for the next one. And so we got to hang out the entire show. I was on for like 45 minutes. And I love her. And I think she was so amazing. And so everything you think about her in terms of being awesome is true. So thank you, Jonathan. That was good. Did earlier drafts, Marcus Wood asked, did earlier drafts have more descriptions of the Longwood Gardens? Yes, they did. The early drafts of the book, I owe these two women who I spoke to. Maybe you know them, Marcus. I called these women. Nola lives. You'll see the Longwood Gardens play a key but vital role in the book. And I had an entire scene at Longwood Gardens that got cut. The truth was it just got cut because the plot needed to roll forward, and I got to reduce it. But these really nice people at Longwood Gardens in Pennsylvania just poured amazing information into my brain. And I feel like one day I have to let them read the part that got cut. But thank you for noticing that, Marcus. Okay, Katrina asked, what books are you currently working on? So you heard all those. And Lanessa asked, are you planning on doing any more work with DC Comics? Asking for my daughter who's over my shoulder. You tell your daughter that I Am Wonder Woman is coming her way. I Am Superman. I'm going to tell you something about them. So I Am Superman and I Am Wonder Woman and I Am Batman. What I love most about doing them is you get to the last pages of the book. You tell the whole story of them as characters. But the very last pages where we usually do a timeline, we actually do the story of the creators of it. So Superman, you see the story of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, who were two 17-year-old boys when they came up with the idea for Superman. 17. I'm so excited to let your kids see that as teenagers, the power of their own imagination. That is spectacular to me. So DC Comics obviously had to sound off and everything. We're working hand in hand with them. I think you're going to really like that one. It's a really fun book. Sherry, who's in the book, said, I said JFK Conspiracy was my guess, and you were wrong, Sherry. I'm sorry to say you were. That was it, but that was a good guess because you knew it was a short word, didn't you? That's what you thought it was. We tricked you on that. I totally did it on purpose. I actually did size it so you could see it was small because I wanted to trick people. So I'm sneaky like that. Do your characters ever break your heart as you're writing them? That is true. 100%. 100%. Not the bad characters. Those I just plot. I'm trying to think how to say it. Zig and Nola, they break my heart. They do break my heart. As I said, this book is about dysfunctional family. And when I write them, I don't realize I'm doing it, but I'm revealing myself. And I told you a little bit about before, but I just did an interview with someone yesterday. And they said to me, Brad, I'm reading Nola, and why does it feel like she's sometimes a woman who's just so worried as a person that she feels like she just wishes that her parents could take care of her in a way that she's not getting. And I never thought about it, but I was like, my parents loved me like nobody's business, but there were times where I had to parent, and I realized that part of Nola is certainly, I understand intimately. When you see Zig ache for his daughter, who he's never going to have back, right? Zig will never have what he wants most, which is his daughter back. Nola will never, ever get what she wants most, which is a father or a family. They will never have what they want the most. All they will get is each other, and they have to build something better from there. And for me, there are parts in the book where I'll plot and plan what Nola's going to do, and then I get there and she's like, I'm not doing it. Or there's parts where Zig will be just broken about his daughter and how he misses her. And it's me and my love for my parents. That's what you're reading. And everyone always says to me, oh, those things that he says about the people who he misses are so potent. And I'm like, it's just me writing about my family. That's all I'm doing. It was this really interesting thing. My son, some of you might have heard me see it. You might have heard me say it online. My son was reading a copy of the book, and he's since finished. He finished a couple of days ago, and he's he read the first chapter. I was terrified because I've been reviewed all these amazing places. Whatever. If they say you're great, it doesn't mean you're great. If they say you're bad, it doesn't mean you're bad. Whatever. I can take it. It's fine. Hopefully, depending on how bad it is. But my son's reading it now, and I'm reading over his shoulder. I'm sitting next to him, and he turns to me after he finishes the first chapter. He's like, Dad, great start. I forget I just blanked on what he said, the exact words, but he was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so great. And when he finished the book, he said to me, he called me up the other day and he said, I never realized there's so much of us in here. And I was like, what? And he's like, the whole family, we're all in here. And he saw that, like, if there's a number somewhere that I need to use, it's like my kid's birthday. Or if there's like a doll that a kid has in the book, it's my kid's doll. Or if there's a show that they're watching, it's my kid's favorite show. Or if there's like a hero that they have or a movie that they love, it's my kid's favorite movie. I don't think about that. I'm spending 2 years just filling in details, and he caught it, and it was this beautiful moment because it was no planning, no plot. And I think parenting is always its best when you don't plan. Those are the best moments. The ones you plan for never work out the way you want. And so those heartbreaks that you see, those things that surprise me, they're real, they're genuine, because they're the ones that kind of come and catch me by surprise. I love those. Okay, I got a couple more questions. Then we're gonna get you guys out of here. I promise we're gonna be done because I don't want to keep anyone late on a Friday. Okay, love you too, Stephanie says. Thank you for doing this Zoom. I grew up in the DMV and always came to your P&P events. I even ran into you in Comet Pizza. Oh, you were the ones who came to Comet Pizza. Are you the one I hope I bought you? You're the ones I bought pizza for? Tell me that in the comments or the question somewhere. I like buying food for people when they come to the book signings. I'm now living in California. Can you come to Los Angeles? I'm coming tonight, Stephanie. Make up the extra bedroom. No, sadly, they didn't put California on this one, but I would love to do another event out in California because it's snowing in friggin' Cleveland right now. Look, it's getting darker. You can see it. You know how this is going to be a good story. So these kids came to the event, and I'm doing the book signing, and these two brothers, and they come up and they're like, Brad, the older brother says, the younger brother says, I saw that you know, in every Ordinary People Change the World book, Chris Eliopoulos hides me in the book. So you can find me in the book. And you can always find the next character in the book. You can find number 27. We hide all these things in the book. And he sees me, he says, I saw you were in the book. You know, you met Rosa Parks, and you met Dr. King, Brad, and you met Albert Einstein. And like, you know, you must be like a time traveler. And his older brother says, that's so stupid. He's not a time traveler. Brad's a vampire. And I looked at them and I said, you are right. I told him the truth. You are right. So as the sun comes down, blood's coming. Okay, here we go. Lori said, I go to Longwood Gardens all the time. You need to share that with all of us. We'll put another book, please. I know, Lori, tell them, I did put Longwood Gardens, and I could have cut it, but I put them in purposely because of those women who were so nice. Tell them that I took care of them. Okay, 2 more questions. Are any of your kids writing or want to be writers? No, they do not. My kids do not. Maybe, I don't know. No, my daughter will never give me the satisfaction. It's so interesting. My oldest son is now, I think, really unlocking the power of like the fun of reading. And my daughter would never right now give me that satisfaction because she's 16. She's never going to do that, despite me. And my youngest, though, he likes to read, and he likes to read the same stuff I do. So that's fun. So who knows? If they do or don't, that's their choice. Okay. Suzanne says, I can't wait for that one. I don't know which one we're talking about, but it's going to be a good one. Are any of your books going to be a series on Netflix or another one? Okay. So what's happening with movies? Or as I call it, what's wrong with my agents? Why can't they sell one of these things? It's hard. It's really hard. We are working on right now. The Lincoln Conspiracy has been optioned by Netflix. We have a director named Nia DaCosta who is incredible and amazing. Her next movie is the next Marvel movie. She's literally doing the next Marvel movie and then doing the Lincoln Conspiracy. If it happens, they got to do a script first. We have 2 great screenwriters who are working on it right now. We'll see how it comes out. I'm not holding my breath. It's a really hard process, but they are working on it. And we're always working on Zig and Nola, don't worry. Samantha says, I watch Decoded literally every single night. I've probably seen the John Wilkes Booth episode a million times. Were you surprised to learn so many Lincoln conspiracies? Samantha, that Lincoln assassination episode is my favorite one we did. And, you know, when it comes to Decoded, I love doing Decoded. I love that you watch it. And what you see in that series is I love Abraham Lincoln. It's why I've done Decoded episodes about Abraham Lincoln, nonfiction books about Abraham Lincoln, kids' books about Abraham Lincoln. I put Abraham Lincoln stories in the fictional books. I do think he's still the best president. Yes, I agree. I love him. And then, okay, let's see what it says. I'm going to, one more question. Last one. Okay, ready? Now I'm scrolling down your comments. Pinky promise. That's what I should have said. I should have made every single person do a pinky promise. Okay, I'm leaving you with this story. It says, what was the best research thing? What was your best get? And I saved that one for the end because I got a good one. Although, and Joe wants Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm just scrolling through, make sure I didn't miss any questions. Lanessa asked, your husband's so awesome. He's going to try and get off work and come to Atlanta. He should come to Atlanta. I will say hi. Please have him introduce himself. Okay, so here's the final question. And it's like, what was, of all the research, what was the best quote unquote thing that you got to do? And going to the White House is always there's nothing like meeting the president. That's just, whether it was Clinton, whether it was Bush, like that was just fun. Um, Bush 41 and 43, meeting both. I mean, all of them is like a surreal, if you meet a president, anyone in DC knows, you meet the president, you have a story to tell forever. You always do. But as far as the best adventure that I ever had researching, it was this. So when President Bush was dying years ago, they were inviting in his favorite authors to basically and knew he was. And I got one of the calls. And I was in Kennebunk at the time. I went up to the complex, and the Secret Service said to me, listen, he's going to fall asleep after 5 or 10 minutes. That's just the way it's going to be. He's, sleeping most of the day these days. So read to him for 5-10 minutes, finish the chapter, get out of there. I said, no problem. I'm honored to be here. And I walk in the room, the Secret Service leave, and I know it's the end. I know it's the end. It's myself and my wife and President Bush and his service dog, Sully. And I can see on his desk, he's got a copy of The First Conspiracy with other books. Him and President Clinton had blurbed them for me. And I see this copy that's all dogged. I say, sir, you want to read a copy? I brought my own. He says, mm-hmm. Because he can't even speak at this point. He's just, mm-hmm, or uh-uh. And I read, the section I brought to read him was the section where George Washington, for the first time, has the Declaration of Independence read to his troops for the first time. And sure enough, 5 minutes into the chapter, he's asleep. And then I get to those words we all know. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And his eyes pop open and he locks on me. And it's like it's an infusion of, just American awesomeness. And I get to the end of the chapter, he's wide awake. I say, sir, you want to read another chapter? Mm-hmm. Want to read another one? Mm-hmm. Want to read another? Mm-hmm. And instead of reading 5 minutes to him, I'm there for an hour. And I knew when I left there, I'd never see him again. But to be able to have a moment where I'm reading from about the first American president to, at that point, the person who is the oldest living president, was just one of the most humbling moments of my life. And that was my best one. So I'll leave you with this one thing. I'm going to leave you with a story about my daughter. And I ask you, open Instagram on your phones right now. So my daughter, because I feel like we talked a lot about the future and we talked a lot about the kids' books, and I should have said this, but my daughter is 16 years old, as I mentioned. And when she was 15, she said she feels like we as a society, we hide ourselves. We hide parts of ourselves online. We don't show the real side of ourselves. We hide, and we show this like perfect version. And she hates that, and I hate that, and we all hate that. She said, but I'm going to create a site on Instagram where people can show their true selves. I said, that sounds great. You're going to show their secret identities. I said, that's great. You got to go first and do yours first. She's like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, you got to do that. And no one's going to do it if you don't do it. So she wrote, as 15 years old in high school last year, she wrote, people think I have it all together. My secret identity is I struggle. And she puts it out in front of her entire high school. And some friends, of course, out of sympathy or support, do theirs. Then there's a girl who confesses, not even that close with my daughter, confesses her eating disorder on the site. And then, people like Billie Jean King get wind of it and do one. Sheryl Sandberg, Mika Brzezinski, Senator Susan Collins, Democrats, Republicans, there's no politics about it. Gloria Estefan does one. But what I love the most were people just like us, regular people who did it. One of my favorite was done by Brianna, who said, people think I'm weird, but my secret identity is I'm autistic and I just like different things. And I love that one. One of my favorite ones that was there. And what I encourage you to do is on Instagram, go to Her Secret Identity. And that's it. It's at Her Secret Identity. It's my daughter's site. And if you're interested or whatever, give it a little follow. And especially to the strong, amazing women out there, because I can see the names on here. Think about submitting one, because I do think the only way, as I said before, whether it's book bans or whether it's what we fight back on social media, you got to fight back. You got to use the lessons of Rosa Parks and Dr. King, and you have to push back. And so with that said, I will thank you for joining me on a Friday night. This was actually, I didn't think it was going to be as much fun, because usually I can't see, and they keep the questions away from me. And I said to them before we started, I want to see everyone's stuff and getting to see all of you. I feel like I got to see your reactions, and that makes me so happy. So thank you. Lanessa, you're welcome. Joe Fab, you're welcome. Thank you all. I can see your thank yous coming in. And if you want a signed copy of The Lightning Rod, look in the chat. It's right there. Politics and Prose has signed copies of the kids' book, signed copies of Lincoln Conspiracy, First Conspiracy, A New Day. They have signed copies, of course, of The Escape Artist. They have signed copies of whatever they have in that store. I even signed some books by Jodi Picoult. I signed everything. I didn't care. I just was going crazy with my pen. Thank you, Sam and Linda and Leah and everybody. Sherry, you're going to see yourself in the book. Thanks to everyone for joining us, and have a great night. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us tonight and for that really amazing and very engaging talk. I know I laughed a lot. I'm sure the audience members did too. Some of them let us know in the chat. I would also like to thank the audience here today, as your patronage is really what allows us to bring you programming like this, and we wouldn't be able to continue to host these events without the book sales to support them. So please support Brad Meltzer and Politics and Prose by using the link which we've posted in the chat to purchase a signed copy of The Lightning Rod. And be sure to keep an eye on our website for our current event listings, as we have plenty of excellent events to attend virtually and now in person. So thank you again to Brad for joining us today. Keep well read, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.